But we're talking all things kind of taxes and real estate here this morning. We have Trevor Halpern. Good morning, Trevor.
Morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Give us a little background about yourself first.
Sure. Yeah. Valley real estate agent, been in the business for 14 plus years. I specialize in helping people buy and sell homes.
Let's start first. Let's talk about real estate now before we get into the tax aspect, because I don't want people's eyes to glaze over.
Yeah. That's what their CPAs are for, Yeah.
But let's talk about where we're kind of sitting, because you've mentioned that you've been here 14 years.
Yeah.
I've been here for around the same time.
Yeah.
And man, it seems like when I got here, the prices were great.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very affordable here in Arizona.
Yep.
The same neighborhood that I bought my house in, I don't know if I could afford to buy my house in it today.
Yep.
And you've been there for how long?
Since 2019, right before the pandemic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So about 6.
Yeah, so I feel like I kind of was that sweet spot, but I feel like, the things have just changed so much.
They have. Really the market dynamics have changed. I mean, since I've been in the industry for 14 years, I've seen them change. Since I've been here my entire life, I've seen this valley change. And really, you nailed it. Since COVID, prices in real estate have changed. Phoenix was always a sleepy little city. Even though we've always been in the top 6, 7, 5, 6, 7 cities size-wise, population-wise, we were always viewed as a secondary or tertiary city when it came to like real estate values.
Is that
COVID changed that.
And everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So really our values were always lower than other top 5, 6, 7 cities, right? People could cash out in San Diego, bring a bag of money here, pay cash for a home.
And get a beautiful size home.
Yes. And have money left over to invest and whatnot. COVID changed that because we were a little bit more of a free state, because it was sunny and warm. And if you had to be cooped up somewhere, you could go sit on a back patio as opposed to being in, Sheboygan and being, exactly. So a lot of people came to Arizona during that. A lot of people bought Airbnbs. They bought second homes. They were like, hey, we'll spend some time here, and then if not, we'll rent it out. And so we saw kind of that hockey stick increase in values during that time, and we've just kind of stayed in that mode. And so we went from being a secondary or tertiary value city to being really on par with a bunch of other big cities.
Now, Trevor, you kind of mentioned that we kind of hit that upward trajectory. Did you anticipate that we would stay there as long as we did, or did you think that maybe things would start to settle back down? Because it seemed like people were buying up houses left and right, and I know my neighbor, she bought for well over the asking price because she was in a bidding war. And I remember like a lot of these homes that people were in bidding wars for just to be able to get their hands on this.
Yep. Well, when we look at the fundamentals, supply and demand, when things ramped up during COVID, we really just had more demand than we do supply. But really, when you look structurally, we had always been behind. And for the last 10 years before COVID, for the 10 years prior to COVID, we were behind in construction starts for the population. So meaning there were more people moving here than there were homes available. So we were structurally behind. So when I looked at that ramp up, I thought, and a lot of other people who study the market thought, man, I don't know if we're going to crash. I think we're just going to kind of level off. And what we've seen in values is more of that level. We'll have, especially now the last like 18 months or so, we'll see like a couple months where we're up, and then a month where we're down, and then up. And so we're quite stable.
Would you say though that, I know during COVID, people were selling a $400,000 home was $1.2 million, $1.5 million. Do you think people still have that mindset? So a lot of these sellers are having a hard time letting go of their home for that cheaper price because they saw just, 6 years ago what was happening.
Yeah. So there's kind of a legacy mindset with sellers. Some of them will price, as I call, aspirationally. You look at the list price, you're like, you're not going to get 1.5 for this. Maybe you're going to get 1.2. You're not going to get 800 for this. It's really a 650. So there's a mindset in a lot of sellers that has held on. That being said, we saw about 8 months ago, we saw the number of listings, the listing success rate is what we call it, tumbled. So like 40 or 50% of all of our listings that would go on would fail. Sellers would pull them because sellers were sitting there going, I think my house is worth 1.5 and you want to give me 1.2? I'm just not going to sell.
A little more emotional than realistic.
Exactly. That balance of logic and emotion I talk about a lot with my buyers and sellers. If you're like super logical, I'm going to get 1.5, or you're very emotionally attached to that number and the market shows you that your home is not worth that, oftentimes it hurts you here and here,
Let's talk a little bit about mortgage rates, because I feel like that's kind of stuck a lot of people that maybe were hoping to move on to their second home, because I feel like that's a great way to build wealth is your home. And so I think a lot of folks, buy that little home, fix it up, and then hope to move on to something bigger. But I feel like a lot of people are now stuck in their homes just because of the way the mortgage rates are right now. They're kind of insane.
If they sell, they can't afford to
that
buy
new
something
payment.
else.
Yeah. So the mentality is this. We call it the golden handcuffs. If you got like a 2.5% or 3% or 3.25% interest rate, and you're looking now at like 6.25%, and a year ago or 2 years ago we were at 7%. That the mentality is like I can't do this, right? That's a hyper logical scenario. Now the reality is when you bought at 2.5% or 3% or 3.25%, your value has gone up, right? So if you sold your home and took that equity and applied it to a new home, even at 6%, now you're like, hey, maybe I'm progressing my life forward. I'm getting a bigger home. So I built a bunch of equity. I'm putting it as a down payment. I'm getting a nicer home. I'm getting something that serves us more. And my monthly payment is kind of within the ballpark. It's going to be higher, but you have a bucket of equity that you built because you bought at the right time, right? So if you apply that as a down payment, your monthly payment is going to go down. So if you use your equity wisely, you can shift up really well.
You have to you crunch the numbers though.
You do.
Make sure it's feasible for you. I wanted to ask you though, does those what you mentioned, I like what you said, the golden handcuffs, does that mean that there are fewer homes on the market for potential buyers?
You got it.
People are kind of don't want to sell.
Exactly. So a lot of people are holding on to their inventory. We're not going to sell because I'm going to die with this interest rate, right? So if interest rates come down, like really, if we start seeing them in the 5s, consistently in the 5s, even if it's in the upper 5s, we're going to see more and more people start moving. There's a mental, I don't know what it is, but we see it, and my lender partners who are out there doing loans see it. When interest rates are in the 5s, people start making moves. They're willing to exchange a 3.5 for a 5.5. They're not willing to exchange a 3.5 for a 6.5. There's a block that occurs. So if we see rates come down, it's solidly into the 5s for like a 3, 4, 5 month period of time, we will likely see more activity.
Fingers crossed. And what about taxes?
Let's talk about
that. So what's going on with that?
So listen, your home, and when you buy a home, you get a lot of tax benefit from the home. So whether it's a HELOC, whether it's mortgage interest deduction, there's so many things that you can use to minimize your tax exposure.
And that would be obviously for not, if you're going to buy a home right now, that's going to go into your 2026 taxes. But people can look at, if they bought a home last year and they haven't done their taxes yet, those are things that they can look at.
One of the things that we do for our clients when tax season rolls around, we send them their settlement statement from the title company. Go, hey, just as a reminder, give this to your CPA. So it allows for the CPA to calculate the cost basis. What did you pay for it? It's a component of the total equation. So you're looking at mortgage interest deductions. You're looking, if you pulled a HELOC and you applied it to your home equity line of credit, and you're using those funds to substantially improve your home, you can deduct certain portions of the interest that you've paid on that. So your home and even investment properties can be a really good kind of cost sink for taxes. You can use them to your benefit to lower your tax liability.
But probably best to drop a check with that CPA, just to make sure to dot your I's
and cross your T's.
Dot your lowercase J.
You get what I'm trying to say. But
correctly.
It can be kind of confusing, and the last thing you want is a knock on the door from the IRS. The internet, people like me are full of advice. You should always check with your tax professional, whether that's your CPA, tax attorney. Really, before you're doing anything, you want to check with them. But having the knowledge, listen, the CPAs have a lot going on, and everyone's scenario is different. So just having the knowledge to bring this stuff up. Hey, I bought a home last year. I did this. I did that. Here's my mortgage interest statement. Here's my my property tax statement, just to know enough of what you should bundle and give to your CPA so they're looking at it. That's going to empower you, and that's going to empower your CPA to save you as much as they can. Back to the real estate before we let you go. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but how do you think things will start to look here as we get into the summer months? Because that's usually when things kind of die down because it gets so hot here. What do you kind of foresee will be happening in the next couple of months?
I love that. The idea that real estate dies down in summer is something in Phoenix that everyone thinks. The reality is May, June, July, and August are 4 of our 6 busiest months for closings.
Okay, well, see, I don't know what I'm talking about.
But listen, everyone, I get that all the time. Real estate agents love saying that, and I think it's because they want to go on vacation in the summer. Listen, it's quiet.
You don't want to sweat through your suit. showing home.
No, you want to move in San Diego, right? Yeah. So I think traditionally, if we look, I think the months of activity will continue to increase. I do see with the bump in mortgage interest rates that we've seen because of the international instability, because of gas prices going up, all that sort of stuff. We've seen interest rates go up, and that is putting a little bit of a wet blanket on the buyer market. So I think the outlook that we all predicted for this year, and really before things popped off in Iran, we saw mortgage interest rates dipping into the 5s. That would have been a catalyst to a lot of activity. Now we're in the 6s again, and it's just kind of slowed things down. So I think we're going to have a little bit slower summer than we anticipated previously.
We've got about 90 seconds left. Is there a specific area in the valley that you think is maybe a hotter area that people are buying and selling there more than others?
Yeah, generally speaking, if the closer to the center of town you come, the more active it is. You know, you're out in the Buckeyes, you're out in the far reaches of Queen Creek.
Yep.
You know, you'll have little micro pockets in those areas that are very active, but the further out you go, the lower it is on the meter, what we call the Cromford Market Index. So it's more of a buyer's market out there. It's more of a buyer's market out there. It's more of a seller's market in the center of town. It's more active in the center.
Interesting.
You love the East Valley.
I love the East Valley.
She's an East Valley
I'm an
gal.
East Valley girl.
Yeah.
Takes her 45 minutes to get here every day.
She loves that.
She loves
driving. Yeah.
She loves the gas prices.
You know,
Ride a bike to work. I'll be very
Sweaty Eddie. Trevor, folks are watching right now. They want to get more information. How can they reach you?
Yeah, they can reach me on my Instagram handle if they'd like, at Halpern Residential, or they can call me at 602-595-4200.
I think you sold my neighbor's house, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you off there. Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah, give your address, Ty.
Yeah. No, thanks.
What's your blood type?
Well, all right, Trevor, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be